All right, so I wanted to read this article from this, I think it's a website. It's called American Greatness. Tulsi Gabbard versus the War Party. This is great. This is written, it says strong independent conservatives. Okay. But see, you're going to get people from both the left and the right. The old, what I call the old school left that understands that war is hell and that we shouldn't be jumping every time there's a conflict somewhere. Let me read this. It's good stuff. Representative Tulsi Gabbard is the latest victim of the corporate media's smear machine. Although a liberal Democrat, Gabbard is a retired U.S. Army major who served in a medical unit during the Iraq War. Despite of Despite a number of untenable domestic policy positions, now that's not going to make her. I mean, people on the left aren't going to agree with that statement. But anyway, her foreign policy instincts reflect a more conservative predilection than many in her party's elite appreciate. Gabbard's skepticism about humanitarian military intervention and regime change have made her a pariah among the elite of both parties. Gabbard in January announced her plans to run for president in 2020, even though she is an ideological leftist. The fact that she opposes perpetual warfare in places like Syria makes her prospects of winning her party's nomination very low. That's just bad. I mean, it's just sad. What's more, Gabbard's track record on foreign policy decision making since entering Congress in 2012 is far better than that of the permanent bipartisan fusion party. Oh, I love that statement. That alone makes her a threat to the Democratic globalist elite. And I love that. I love that line. See, this is why I'm here. This is why I'm doing this channel. The Democratic globalist elite. There are a lot of people that seem to be okay with globalism. I'm not one of those people. Just let you know. Gabbard served in Iraq in 2005, a year after the American position there became mired in a brutal ethno-religious insurgency, and a year before, the David Petraeus-led surge put a Band-Aid on the deep festering wound that was U.S. war policy at the time. She has seen up close what the hubris of America's political elite costs the nation. Well-written piece here. After all, the Iraq War was not just about removing weapons, and they put non-existent in parentheses, weapons of mass destruction from a rogue state, nor was the conflict only about ridding the world of Saddam Hussein, a tyrant who truly was among the world's most brutal dictators. No, the war was a social engineering experiment applied by competent technocrats in their sterile halls of power and the stuffy ivory towers of think tanks in Washington, D.C. Oh, this is great. This is like, how you describe this? Political crack. This is good stuff. The regional social experiment was mired on simplistic logic by applying America's seemingly limitless military and economic power. The United States could remove the impetus for terrorism permanently by ridding the Middle East of secular autocrats. These sophomoric interpretations of the Middle East had far more influence in the White House than they should have had. Gabbard and her fellow soldiers paid the price for those flawed assumptions. Matters worsened when Barack Obama not only continued the Bush-era policies in the Middle East, but in some cases actually expanded them. From Libya to Syria, Obama intensified the war party's lust for limitless regime change throughout the Middle East, all in the vain hope that some form of democracy would take root. Gabbard was elected to the House of Representatives in 2012 Yet her war experience allowed her to resist the hubris trap that so many elected leaders fall into once they are ensconced in their cushy offices. Since her election, Gabbard has been a relentless public servant and a staunch advocate for responsible statecraft. This was exemplified by her opposition to the Obama administration's Syria policy and the calls that Assad must go. As a member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Gabbard went to Syria in January 2017 to visit the Assad-held areas of the country. She did this because security in the supposedly pro-American parts of Syria was non-existent. Republicans and Democrats alike were disseminating and accepting intelligence from U.S.-backed rebels, most of whom hate America. Well, that's a good idea. Let's take that intelligence and use it. Few were asking what was happening on the other side of the Civil War. Gabbard rightly believed that neither she nor her colleagues could make informed decisions about such a complex conflict without first getting a read on what was occurring within Syria on all sides of the war. While in Syria, she met with Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad. Gabbard concluded that no matter how despicable Assad may be, he did not pose a direct threat to the United States. As a result, she has voted against any greater U.S. intervention in Syria. Now, this goes on a little further. Yet the truth is, Gabbard was doing her due diligence. And it goes on and it talks about, in a string of appearances in corporate media outlets from Morning Joe to The View, the hosts of these programs parroted the talking points about Gabbard's love of dictators. Casey Hunt even demanded that Gabbard explain why she is an Assad supporter, while Gabbard sat dumbfounded at the question on the set of Morning Joe. It's sad that Gabbard, a veteran, must put up with such imbecility from our supposed informed, unbiased media. Most disturbing is that few outside of the Trump administration have taken these corporatists to task for the danger that America's insulated, unthinking elites pose to American national security. Tulsi Gabbard's domestic policy preferences make it impossible to suggest that she would be a good president, according to this website. Still, she is to be admired not only for her dedicated service to this country, but also for her willingness to stand up for common sense statecraft. And that's it. Do I agree with this piece? I do. I think Tulsi Gabbard could be the person that actually helps reunite the country. But the military side of Tulsi Gabbard, the fact that she served, the fact that she's a proud service member, the fact that she salutes and loves veterans, I don't know if that plays well in her party anymore. I just don't. I don't know. I mean, it's weird, though, because her party is also the party that says these days, well, let's do regime change. But I don't know how sympathetic her party is to veterans anymore. It just doesn't seem like they care that much. The Republicans care, at least in the sense that they talk. I don't know if they do anything, but they talk a lot. So this is a very interesting article. It comes from the conservative side of things. And again, folks, there's nobody else out there running like Tulsi Gabbard. I know some people think Bernie Sanders has these positions. Maybe he does. I'm just not excited about Bernie Sanders. I think we need a young president, somebody who can get in there and work hard. Even this article mentions her like nonstop service. In other words, when she's on the ground, she's working. When she's in the halls of Congress, she's a worker. She's at home, she's listening to constituents. I've seen some of these town hall events in New Hampshire. This is a different kind of politician. So I'm just telling you, I know people said that about Obama. Obama was a celebrity politician when he first got elected. It was all about, meeting with celebs and stars, and people were starstruck. I am struck by her sincerity and her warmth and her realness. So that's my take on this article. Again, you can check it out. American Greatness is the site. It's called Tulsi Gabbard versus the War Party. And yes, there is a war party. See you soon.